I first started drinking when I was 14, between my 13th and right the night before my 14th birthday. I drank beer with a friend of mine and got drunk and blacked out and loved it, you know, and I knew I was home, you know, and that was my solution for a long, long time. You know, that's how I handled social anxiety. That's how I handled my life. Didn't really like being hungover, so I switched quickly to marijuana, you know, and I became the go-to guy for everybody to get pot in high school, and that's how it worked for me for a while. And when I got a big boy job, and I say that because I got a job that I liked when I was 19 years old, and I worked for some people here locally in Bangor. I'm from the area, and they took me under their wing, you know, and gave me a real good job that I loved. You know, I really did. I enjoyed it tremendously, and couldn't smoke pot anymore. So I had to have something. So I went back to drinking, and that's kind of when I had to try to control the alcohol, you know, because I couldn't get on to the point where I'd be hungover. I did some hurtful things to these people that took me in. You know, I did some bad stuff that had to do with drugs. You know, drugs is a big part of my story. It certainly isn't all alcohol. I liked to do the kind of drugs that allowed me to drink all I wanted to, and so they fired me. You know, and that ended that job. And at that point in my life, I was, you know, I got married real young and all that stuff. And my first wife said, "See you later." And you know, all of a sudden I was homeless and had no job. I quit drinking and doing drugs for a while in my 30s, and that was only because life seemed better to me. It was easier, but I quickly swapped it over to being a workaholic too, and I built a business. I had a really nice business for quite a few years, and you know, a multi-million-dollar business in Bangor. I owned some apartment houses in Bangor. I was a daily drinker. You know, I couldn't wait for 5 o'clock to come so I could go have a few drinks. I was a bar drinker at that time, and still controlling it. You know, shutting myself off at a certain time so I could drive home, and you know, just all the games that I played in my own head, and somebody suggested that we go get the kind of drugs that I liked, that let me drink all I wanted to. You know, I knew I wasn't being any too smart by agreeing to it, but I had enough alcohol, and alcohol always gave me permission to do whatever. Always did. I agreed to go get some cocaine, and you know, the rest. Fast forward 4 years later, in 2009, which is when in September 2009 is when I put the plug in the jug and stopped doing drugs, and everything was gone. My business was bankrupt. The apartment house has been foreclosed on. My cars were all repossessed. I was living in one room of my house, and felt that that's how it would end, and I was okay with that. I was all right with that. You know, I figured that everybody leave me alone, and that's how it's going to end, and I'm okay with that. And what happened was that for me was that I ran out of money. I ran out of money, and I could no longer afford to do the drugs that let me drink all I wanted to. And I was drinking a half a gallon of whiskey a day. I managed to call Acadia and check myself into Acadia, and somebody suggested going to a meeting that was recovery based, and I did, you know, and I heard somebody there tell part of my story, and it gave me the courage to go to another one. So I found this man who sat me down, and I asked him for help. You know, I put my hand out, and he took it. You know, and I'll always be forever grateful for him doing that. And he told me about himself. You know, and where he had come from and where he was today. I believed he had an answer. You know, he had what I wanted, and it was his peace of mind, which I had none. You know, everything at that point, all I could see, because I had been, when I sat down with him, I had been free of drugs and alcohol for 2 months. You know, and my intention was to get healthy so I could go back to drinking, but you know, everything got kind of shifted, so that never did end up happening. Well, as of today, anyway, it has not happened. He sat me down and read to me some things that I read to other people today too, And it really rung home for me. You know, it was, you know, a disease, and we call it a disease, takes everything worthwhile in life away. You know, wow, you know, that was just like the aha moment. And that's, you know, that hit, you know, boom, okay, you know, and so that I was able to move forward. He spent 18 months one-on-one. He was very demanding type of a person, and he had rules, and he did this stuff for free. You know, he did this for free. What he got out of it was it kept him from going back to his demons too, you know, and he made it very clear that I would do the same, you know, and I'm coming up on my 8th anniversary, and he moved away when I was 18 months clean and sober, you know, and so I get a little sentimental, but when I think about it, you know, coming up on 8 years doesn't even seem possible, really, you know. My life today is nothing like it used to be at all, and it's far, far different in a lot of ways. I have a big boy job again today that pays me good money, and, you know, I didn't lose my home somehow. I don't know how that happened, but, you know, I got family that lives in my house. I got toys in the dooryard, and I have to follow some rules, you know, some simple rules, and the biggest one is the giving back to others. When somebody actually gets it and the light goes on for them, it's extremely moving, you know, to see that, just like it was when my eyes got opened up, that, oh, there is a solution, you know, there's a way out. I didn't know there was a way out. I started going in the jail to do recovery meetings, and for the barn. The barn has a Friday night meeting every single Friday, so I'm in there 5 times a week probably in the jail, and for me, what I've seen in the last 3 years that I've been doing it is the increase in you know, the opiates and heroin, and the wreckage that is causing. And it's, for me, a drug is a drug is a drug, no matter what it is, any mind-altering substance, you know. And behind us is a world of ignorance. When I got clean, it was all behind closed doors, so I didn't even know that there was any help out there, you know. I thought it was all you know, just kind of smoke and mirrors. What's been most effective that I have found is to share my experience too, you know, what it was like for me, how horrible it was to be in that and not realize you could get out. You know, the most effective thing was what this gentleman who put his hand out to me to do, was to tell me what it was like, and that, boom, I knew this man knew what he was talking about. That the barn is a safe place to go. You know, it's when I got clean, there was no safe place to go. You know, you could go to a meeting or whatever pretty much any day of the week, but it was for an hour a day. You know, what are you supposed to do for the rest of the time? You know, you white knuckle it, hold on, and pray. You know, that's all. That's what you do, and that's how I did it. You know, and I'm very thankful that there is a place that people can go and hang out, just hang out, and hear other people. And that's what it is. It's a community thing, you know, and that's the whole thing. You know, just like me talking one-on-one with somebody else who's sick and suffering, you get that all the time there. You know, if you just put your hand out, somebody will take it. If you put your hand out, somebody will grab it.